This is today's Bible reading, Ezekiel 47, the healing waters and trees. Then he brought me back to the door of the temple, and there was water flowing from under the threshold of the temple toward the east, for the front of the temple faced east. The water was flowing from under the right side of the temple, south of the altar. He brought me out by way of the north gate and led me around on the outside to the outer gateway that faces east. And there was water running out on the right side. And when the man went out to the east with the line in his hand, he measured 1,000 cubits, and he brought me through the waters. The water came up to my ankles. Again he measured 1,000 and brought me through the waters. The water came up to my knees. Again he measured 1,000 and brought me through. The water came up to my waist. Again he measured 1,000. It was a river that I could not cross, for the water was too deep, water in which one must swim, a river that could not be crossed. He said to me, Son of man, have you seen this? Then he brought me and returned me to the bank of the river. Ezekiel 48, division of the land. Now these are the names of the tribes from the northern border along the road to Hethlon at the entrance of Hamath, to Hazar Enan, the border of Damascus northward in the direction of Hamath. There shall be one section for Dan from its east to its west side by the border of Dan. From the east side to the west, one section for Asher by the border of Asher. From the east side to the west, one section for Naphtali by the border of Naphtali. From the east side to the west, one section for Manasseh by the border of Manasseh. From the east side to the west, one section for Ephraim by the border of Ephraim. From the east side to the west, one section for Reuben. By the border of Judah. From the east side to the west, one section for Judah by the border of Judah. From the east side to the west shall be the district which you shall set apart, 25,000 cubits in width, and in length the same as one of the other portions, from the east side to the west, with the sanctuary in the center. The district that you shall set apart for the Lord shall be 25,000 cubits in length and 10,000 in width. The sanctuary of the Lord shall be in the center. It shall be for the priests of the sons of Zadok, who are sanctified, who have kept my charge, who did not go astray when the children of Israel went astray, as the Levites went astray. And this district of land, that is set apart, shall be to them a thing most holy by the border of the Levites. Opposite the border of the priests, the Levites shall have an area 25,000 cubits in length and 10,000 in width. Its entire length shall be 25,000 and its width 10,000, and they shall not sell or exchange any of it. They may not alienate this best part of the land, for it is holy to the Lord. The 5,000 cubits in width that remain along the edge of the 25,000 shall be for general use by the city, for dwellings and common land, and the city shall be in the center. These shall be its measurements: the north side 4,500 cubits, the south side 4,500, the east side for 4,500, and the west side 4,500. The common land of the city shall be to the north 250 cubits, to the south 250. To the east 250, and to the west 250. The rest of the length alongside the district of the holy section shall be 10,000 cubits to the east and 10,000 to the west. It shall be adjacent to the district of the holy section, and its produce shall be food for the workers of the city. The workers of the city from all the tribes of Israel shall cultivate it. The entire district shall be 25,000 cubits by 25,000 cubits foursquare. You shall set apart the holy district with the property of the city. The rest shall belong to the prince on one side and on the other of the holy district, and of one side and on the other of the holy district and of the city's property, next to the 25,000 cubits of the holy district, as far as the eastern border, and westward next to the 25,000 as far as the western border, adjacent to the tribal portions. It shall belong to the prince. It shall be the holy district, and the sanctuary of the temple shall be in the center. Moreover, apart from the possession of the Levites and the possession of the city, which are in the midst of what belongs to the prince, the area between the border of Judah and the border of Benjamin shall belong to the prince. As for the rest of the tribes, from the east side to the west, Benjamin shall have one section by the border of Benjamin from the east side to the west. Simeon shall have one section by the border of Simeon from the east side to the west. Issachar shall have one section by the border of Issachar from the east side to the west. Zebulun shall have one section by the border of Zebulun from the east side to the west. Gad shall have one section by the border of Gad on the south side toward the south. The border shall be from Tamar to the waters of Meribah by Kadesh, along the brook to the great sea. This is the land which you shall divide by lot as an inheritance among the tribes of Israel, and these are their portions, says the Lord God. The gates of the city and its name. These are the exits of the city, on the north side, measuring 4,500 cubits. The gates of the city shall be named after the tribes of Israel. The three gates northward, one gate for Reuben, one gate for Judah, and one gate for Levi, on the east side, 4,500 cubits. Three gates, one gate for Joseph, one gate for Benjamin, and one gate for Dan, on the south side, measuring 4,500 cubits, three gates, one gate for Simeon, one gate for Issachar, and one gate for Zebulun. On the west side, 4,500 cubits with their three gates, one gate for Gad, one gate for Asher, and one gate for Naphtali. All the way around shall be 18,000 cubits, and the name of the city from that day shall be, the Lord is there. Now transition, Nebuchadnezzar's siege of Tyre. After destroying Jerusalem in 586 BC, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, moved north and laid siege to the fortress city of Tyre. This was a formidable task, for not only was Tyre on an island just off the coast, but it was a great seaport, able to supply itself from the sea. For 13 years, Nebuchadnezzar sought to bring it to heel, but without success. In 572 BC, he gave up and lifted the siege. The prophet Ezekiel had had much to say about Tyre in earlier years. He had foretold the eventual humbling of Tyre's pride and the desolation of the city. In the 27th year of Jehoiakim's exile, possibly April 571 BC, after Nebuchadnezzar had lifted the siege, Ezekiel received a new message. He declared that God would allow Nebuchadnezzar to conquer Egypt as a sort of consolation prize for his futile efforts at Tyre. While the prophecies against Egypt in Ezekiel 30:1 through 19 are not dated specifically to this time, they can be understood as a further elaboration of this promise. Now, Ezekiel 29:17 through 21. Babylonia will plunder Egypt. And it came to pass in the 27th year, in the first month, on the first day of the month, that the word of the Lord came to me, saying, Son of man, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, caused his army to labor strenuously against Tyre. Every head was made bald, and every shoulder rubbed raw, yet neither he nor his army received wages from Tyre, for the labor which they expended on it. Therefore, thus says the Lord God, surely I will give the land of Egypt to Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. He shall take away her wealth, carry off her spoil, and remove her pillage, and that will be the wages for his army. I've given him the land of Egypt for his labor, because they worked for me, says the Lord God. In that day I will cause the horn of the house of Israel to spring forth, and I will open your mouth to speak in their midst. Then they shall know that I am the Lord. Ezekiel 31 through 19. Egypt and her allies will fall. The word of the Lord came to me again, saying, Son of man, prophesy and say, Thus says the Lord God. Wail, woe to the day, for the day is near, even the day of the Lord is near. It'll be a day of clouds, the time of the Gentiles. The sword shall come upon Egypt, and great anguish shall be in Ethiopia. When the slain fall in Egypt, and they take away her wealth, and her foundations are broken down. Ethiopia, Libya, Lydia, all the mingled people, Chub, and the men of the lands who are allied shall fall with them by the sword. Thus says the Lord. Those who uphold Egypt shall fall, and the pride of her power shall come down from Migdol to Sin. Those within her shall fall by the sword, says the Lord God. They shall be desolate in the midst of the desolate countries, and her cities shall be in the midst of the cities that are laid waste. Then they will know that I am the Lord, when I have set a fire in Egypt, and all her helpers are destroyed. On that day messengers shall go forth from me in ships, to make the careless Ethiopians afraid, and great anguish shall come upon them, as on the day of Egypt, for indeed it is coming. Thus says the Lord God. I'll also make a multitude of Egypt cease by the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. He and his people with him, the most terrible of the nations, shall be brought to destroy the land. They shall draw their swords against Egypt, and fill the land with the slain. I will make the rivers dry. The politics and government of this period. The Egyptians employed mercenary soldiers from the countries around them. Ethiopia was to the south, Libya to the west, and Lydia in what is today Turkey. Chub is possibly another Hebrew term for Libya. The relative strength of Egypt and these countries fluctuated. There were periods when Egypt was ruled by Ethiopians as well as by Libyans. And sell the land into the hand of the wicked. I will make the land waste and all that is in it, by the hand of aliens. I, the Lord, have spoken. Thus says the Lord God. I'll also destroy the idols and cause the images to cease from Noph. There shall no longer be princes from the land of Egypt. I'll put fear in the land of Egypt. I'll make Panthros desolate, set fire to Zoan, and execute judgments in No. I'll pour my fury and send the strength of Egypt. I'll cut off the multitude of No, and set a fire in Egypt. Sin shall have great pain, No shall be split open, and Noph shall be in distress daily. The young men of Aven and Pi-beseth shall fall by the sword, and these cities shall go into captivity. At Tehaphnehes, the day shall also be darkened. When I break the yokes of Egypt there, and her arrogant strength shall cease in her, as for her, a cloud shall cover her. And her daughters shall go into captivity. Thus I'll execute judgment on Egypt. Then they shall know that I am the Lord. Egypt, city of sun worship. Ezekiel 30:17. The prophet Ezekiel pronounced a judgment upon several Egyptian cities, one by the name of Aben. In the Hebrew language, Aben is probably a different pronunciation for the Hebrew name On. On was an important Egyptian city in the Delta region. In patriarchal times, Joseph had married the daughter of the priests of On. The city is now identified with Tel Hissin, a site in the northern suburbs of modern Cairo. Although the city of On was never a major political center, the local priesthood wielded a strong religious influence throughout Egyptian history. On was known primarily for the worship of solar deities and, during Egypt's New Kingdom period, played a major role in Egyptian theology of the kingship. Kings were considered to be the image of the sun god on earth. One of the most controversial monarchs of the New Kingdom, Pharaoh Akhenaten, built a temple in honor of the sun disk at On. He introduced the worship of this object to Egypt, describing it as having the attributes of transcendence and even uniqueness. The sun worship so prominent in On is reflected in the later Greek name for the city, Heliopolis, meaning city of the sun. So also Jeremiah calls the city Beth Shemesh, which in Hebrew means house of the sun. The prophets Jeremiah and Ezekiel both prophesied of the Babylonian campaign against Egypt in 567 BC. Jeremiah proclaims that Nebuchadnezzar would break the sacred pillars of Beth Shemesh. Ezekiel, that by Nebuchadnezzar's hand the young men of Aben would fall. Both prophets spoke of Egypt's ancient city of On. Now transition, prophetic account, hope for the future. King Nebuchadnezzar died in 562 BC and was succeeded briefly by his son Amel-Marduk, or as the Bible spells it, Evil Merodach. By this time, the Neo-Babylonian Empire had reached its peak. It began to decline almost immediately in the rush of kings and usurpers that followed. The prophetic account of the history of Israel led up to a climactic destruction. Jerusalem, the temple, the kingdom, and the unbroken line of Davidic kings had all come to an end. That prophetic history ends, though, with a faint note of hope. Jehoiakim, the rightful king of Judah, who had been taken captive to Babylon, was released from prison. He assumed a place in the court of evil Merodach, where he ate bread regularly before the king all the days of his life. The historical appendix to the book of Jeremiah records that Jehoiakim remained in Babylon until the day of his death. Jehoiakim's release came in the 37th year of his captivity, possibly March 561 BC. As a hope for a restored Israel, it was not much, and the picture of the Davidic king serving in a foreign king's court was hardly flattering to Israel's dignity. Still, the line of David was not completely cut off, which left some hope of eventual restoration. After all, David himself began by serving in another king's court. This is the end of the Bible reading today. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day. God bless you. And see you tomorrow.